Do you think that the words in the book of Revelation, that God was kind of kidding? He was not kidding. I began to ask myself many questions. That we tried all our lives to destroy that little state called Israel. And right there in the 6-day war, I was there. Israel won in 6 days. Why? Because in the book of Joshua, it talks about a 6-day war. It says on the 7th day, early in the morning. The 7th day didn't even begin. The children of Israel arose and went around the walls of Jericho 7 times and kaboom, boom, 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 done. Right? You know the story. Joshua had a 6-day war. And here I was living another war called the 6-day war that was unfolding in front of our eyes. We opened the doors when the 6 days were over on the 7th day early in the morning to see Israeli tanks rolling in Jericho. And I, question and answer time, Dad, that's not the flag that I saluted all the time that's on the tanks. That's a star, blue star. What is that about? We lost the war. How could it be? We were all marching. Everybody was marching all throughout the Middle East. We're going to destroy the Jews. It is a pushover. Goliath will kill David. But we were shocked. David killed Goliath. It would never have been a miracle if Goliath killed David. But God ordained it that the boy kills the giant. Why? Because if it's not so, where's the miracle? I began to understand that all my life as I grew up, I've entered into this experience that even Moses would desire to have witnessed. All of you remember those days. All of you almost have lived the times that God, who's brought the children of Israel, not just out of Egypt, but out of the land of the north, and out of all the countries where He has driven them. From 100 different countries, God's bringing Jews back to the land of Israel, and the world is in denial of what's going on. Even Moses would be dancing in joy because he had a hard time to bring them out of one country, Egypt. God exists. His message is one. I began to understand His book is one. And His nation is one. And His faith is one. And His Messiah is one. We believe in one God. He brought the children of Israel. In fact, in Amos chapter 9, verse 15, He says, I will plant them in their land, and no longer shall they be pulled out of that land. How is it possible that we failed 6-day war, the war of Yom Kippur, 1948, and all the terrorist activity that we did, we could not destroy that little nation called Israel? For I am God and there is no other. I am God, there is none like me, foretelling the end from the beginning. He had thousands of these declarations in this manuscript that I began to unravel in 1993 in my attempt to convert my poor wife to Islam. Where are the corruptions you're talking about in the Bible, of course? I had thought sincerely that when I did my prayer, asking the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob to show me the truth, I had the Quran and the Bible side by side, comparing both manuscripts. And I wanted to ask God for help. And I wanted a neutral prayer that both Muslims, Jews, and Christians will agree to, since I want to make sure that I'm addressing God in the proper fashion. So I said the most neutral prayer will be, in the name of the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Muslims believe in Abraham, supposedly, in Jacob, supposedly, and they believe in God. And Jews and Christians will agree. So I said, in the name of the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, show me the truth. I suspect the Quran is better than the Bible. But you show me the truth. And if you show me the truth, I will do your will in my life. I will do anything you want, anything. I will go to the end of the world. You just show me your truth. You know what happens when you pray in the name of the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob? Here's what happens. You dialed the right number. You dialed the right number. Somebody on the other side picks up. I've been calling you all this time. How come you never answered? Well, you've been dialing the wrong number. I began to read that in every context in the Bible where Jesus is present, where God is present on the earth, and nations are being mentioned in which he will fight, every single one of them is Muslim. Every single one. I began to look at Psalm chapter 83. But Psalm 82, verse 8, it says, "Arise, O God, judge the earth, for you shall inherit all nations. The Lord himself will arise from his throne for that specific incident to judge the following nations." It's the most amazing piece of prophecy in the Bible. Yet when I became a believer and walked into a church, no one ever knew about the stuff that I was talking about. We were studying the book of Acts every single month and never got to these things that's in the Bible regarding these prophetic things. God will arise to judge the nations, and then he mentions them one by one. They have said, "Come and let us cut them off from becoming a nation, that the name of Israel be remembered no more. For they form a confederacy against you, the tents of Edom and the Ishmaelites." Who are these people? Muslim. And I began to read, "Assyria came to their aid, do to them as he did to Zeb and Zalmunna." Who is Zeb and Zalmunna? Zebah and Zalmunna, verse 11. I hope you brought your Bibles with you. The American mindset would look at Zebah and Zalmunna, would skip. We don't know who that is, and they keep going on. In other words, what will happen to these people is exactly what happened to Zebah and Zalmunna. And what happened to Zebah and Zalmunna? It's in the book of Judges, chapter 8, I believe verse 26, with the story of Gideon. You've heard of the story of Gideon? Now, who is Gideon? How much of the Bible is prophetic? All of it. All of it. Come on, Walid. All the Bible is prophetic? Yes. Okay, I can give you a verse that is not prophetic. Let's see. "Blessed are you when they persecute you." Jesus given a sermon. How is that prophetic? Sure is. Because he was leaving, and the sheep are going to become shish kebabs. So he told them, "Blessed are you when they persecute you." He's leaving. What's going to happen to the believers down there? They're going to get persecuted. That was very prophetic. Joseph, the suffering Messiah. David, the king Messiah. Gideon, the brave one. The warring Messiah, the conquering Messiah. You want to know what the Messiah does when he comes back again? Study the book of Gideon. All these things about Gideon, Judges. Study Gideon, and you know everything about Gideon. You know what the Messiah is going to do. What he's going to do in verse 21. So Zibah and Zalmunna said, rise yourself and kill us, for as a man is, so is his strength. So Gideon arose and killed Zibah and Zalmunna and took the crescent ornaments that were on their camels' necks. So in other words, when the Messiah comes, he will remove the crescent moon from all over the land and the high places. The crescent moon is on all the minarets, all throughout the Middle East. It must be the highest position in every single village or city is the crescent moon. In 45 of Isaiah chapter 23, the second half, that to me every knee shall bow, every tongue shall take an oath. There it is. Every knee will bow, every tongue shall take an oath. All right? He shall say, surely the Lord have righteousness and strength. To him men shall come. Oh, the Lord is here, and the whole world is flocking to worship the Lord. Who bows to him? Every knee will bow? Not just human beings will bow. Look at 46, the first verse. Bel bows, Nebo stoops. Arthur Jeffrey, one of the greatest historians in Islam, says that the worship of Allah is the same as worship of Bel, the moon god. Allah is another form of the worship of Bel. Before the advent of Islam, they worshiped the moon god. Bel is the moon god, and it says Bel bows. The moon god will bow, the crescent moon. Nebo stoops. Their idols were on the beasts and on the cattle. Remember, I was sharing with you, judges? It was on the camels' necks, the crescent moon that was plucked away. That also will bow. And it goes on to talk about this amazing prophetic stuff. It will really literally take me, say, 8 hours a day for a month to go over the things that I've discovered. But I only have 2 hours. How can I share all these things in 2 hours? Unfortunately, in America, everything is fast food. Quickly. Get this guy out of the stage, there's another guy who's coming after. I began to understand, even from understanding the Bible, about the concept of who Satan is. The Quran, we memorize big portions of the Quran as Muslims. What is the definition of our God in Islam? How does it differ from the definition of God in the Bible? It goes further than my Antichrist was your Christ and your Antichrist was my Christ. The 99 names of Allah in the Quran. Allah has 99 names. Some of the names of Allah in the Quran will be shocking to a Christian. One of the names of Allah in the Quran is Al-Mutakabbir, which means the most proud one. Antennas are going, they're going up a little further. I can see them. Invisible antennas. The other name is Ad-Dar, the one who causes affliction, or the afflictor. Who's the one who causes affliction?